when you can't control inflation?
It's not inflation.
How does that work?
Inflation is not a function of minimum wage. Inflation is a function of demand and supply, production. That's what most people, when it's a tired argument, right? That they have used so many years to confuse people. What causes inflation is when you have not been able to fulfill the supply for demands for goods and services, right? It is then that you then have inflation.
No, price inflation in food items.
Yes.
Simple thing like food items.
Agriculture, for example, is when I say security, I also wanted to make a mention of agriculture. These days, to grow tomato takes less than 4 months. The other time we had tomato scarcity. Do you know why? Because it took Buhari 6 months to appoint ministers. If the minister had been appointed, he would have called on the minister the first day there was tomato scarcity. That, how is it that we are not growing tomatoes? And there are some tomatoes that can actually be done in 8 weeks ahead with the improved seedlings of tomato. Do you know that eventually after that tomato crisis, we now have too much tomato in the system? Because everybody went to farm. But we're still doing it the haphazard way, There's a problem, you go and fire brigade approach. So how do we sustain the growth of, growing tomato, growing cassava, growing cashew nuts? You know how much the Chinese people are making from cashew nuts in this town? Or what's this, is it sesame? Oil, yeah. Also, huge money that has been made, can be made from it. Or spices that is grown in Kaduna. But nobody's, even in their own agricultural policy, they're only mentioning rice. I see rice is the only thing we eat. Before you can even eat rice, you need tomato, you need pepper, you need all kinds of things. Who is growing them? Do we have a policy for consistently growing all of these products, all of these crops in different places? Are we giving loans to farmers? Do we have post-harvest processing plants? Or is it only done by the Chinese who are making a killing out of it? Are they taking the food that's meant for us away so that we are hungry because we don't know what we're doing? Or are we responding only to demand for certain products? So when they say cashew, everybody's going and grow cashew. When they say tomato, you go and grow cashew. Instead of growing everything, and first and foremost, feeding the Nigerian mouth, is every farmer in the country who should be growing 20 hectares of land is only able to grow 1 hectare because you don't have tractors. Why? Because instead of a governor buying tractor, he's buying SUVs, 50 of it. Instead of buying 50 tractors, they buy 50 SUVs. And you see them on the highway every day. And an average governor has 200 cars. Over 200 policemen have to follow one governor to move from point A to B. Whereas, they have the chance to grow the economy, they have a chance to invest in education, and then we have a chance to pay workers what they deserve so that they can have purchasing power. Because what purchasing power does to you is that it doesn't cause inflation. It says that when I can buy 2 of these shoes from you, the man who is making the shoe for you will be forced to go and hire more people to be making the shoes because there's demand for it. And the worker is the one who's able to pay for it because he can afford to pay for it. The same worker will be able to go on vacation and he'll put money in the hands of people who are processing the tourism industry. The same worker will be able to pay for their child education, and it will mean that the schools are also forced to hire better teachers, even if it's in the private schools. So the economy will be working. What they do in other countries, including America where I live for 19 years, is that whenever they have an economic crisis, they invest in their people. They pay them more wages, they introduce more projects. There was a time in the US that a senator proposed a bridge to nowhere in Alaska because he wanted to put money in the hands of the people. He just said, build this bridge. He didn't say the final destination of the bridge. They study them in school today, because they want to put more money in the pockets of their people. They are not claiming, you can never find America tell you that they have foreign reserve.
Now, one of the things that is very frightening.
Yes.
Is the economy.
Yes.
We don't know how damaged it is.
Yes.
Now. We don't know how our future have all been mortgaged. Okay?
Yes.
We don't know the kind of debt. I don't think Nigerians are aware of the kind of debt we're in now. And some people say that they just can't see the light at the
end of the tunnel.
In the next 4 years. How do
My first response was that if you find yourself in a tunnel, don't hand yourself a shovel, right? And who is the shovel? Atiku. Who is the shovel? Buhari. So if you can't see the end of a tunnel in the next 4 years, and all you can do is to go and bring more shovel and digger, you are digging yourself deeper into that situation. And if you ever see a light at the end of a tunnel, it might be an oncoming train. That's what they are selling to us now. They are selling the light at the end of it, but it's an oncoming train that will crush everybody. So what do we do as other economies? Is because we have a wrong direction in terms of political economy. Our political economy is geared towards outsiders. Our economy is designed in such a way that it is easier for a European to come and make billions out of Nigeria than a Nigerian to make $10,000. Yes, that's our political economy. That is why all of the concept of our economy is about what the World Bank said and what they didn't say, what the IMF said and what they didn't say. People are interested in privatizing our water, right? That is our political economy, because we have geared our economy to be this centrally privatized economy. People are making us believe that except we privatize everything, we can never succeed, which is a lie. When you privatize your economy, you give it to people who have the ability to buy what were public institutions. And when they buy it for peanuts. We even give them tax waivers to do it. And when they make profit, they take the profit out of the country. When they want to hire workers, they bring to the country skilled workers, whereas they refuse to get our workers skilled. That is why you find candidates saying that they will build skill acquisition centers. What is the meaning of skill acquisition centers? China is not building skill acquisition centers, they are building universities, no matter how many they are. Because they know within a university framework and environment, you can gather all the skills you need to make it in life, right? So our economy has to be an economy that is geared towards the Nigerian person, how to empower the Nigerian person, how to use the power of the Nigerian, how to pay the Nigerian person what they deserve, how to feed the Nigerian person, how to develop the Nigerian nation. Our economy right now is not. It's an economy that is customized and given to us by outsiders, and the outsiders are the biggest beneficiary of our economy for 56 years. If you know what the Nigerian economy has done to the outside world in terms of helping them to build their economies, there are cities who have risen from nowhere to become places that all of us are envious of from the Nigerian economy. Dubai is one of them. You know, even the UK, if they remove houses and investment made by Nigerian politicians and business people, the UK will become almost an empty place. Their shops will not be selling the way they sell anymore, because they won't find those crazy people who come around and shut down a shop and buy everything they have, and they have to go and restock before they can reopen their shops. So we have to create an economy that is about us. That is what the Cubans did, and that's why they are proud.
I want to take you up on one of the.
Sorry, people, if you guys have.
And how you felt that we should be exporting weed.
Yes, cannabis.
Cannabis.
Yeah.
To generate income.
Yes.
Explain that, because people say that out of context.
They do so because it's also the condition of the mind that happened to us over the years. Cannabis is one of the most potent plants ever When I was asked at the health seminar, I said, they were talking about traditional medicine. I said, you have the best here. Nigeria's cannabis is known as cannabis sativa. It's one of the most potent in the world. And I knew that if we don't get in the game, Americans will patent their own, the Canadians will patent their own, and South Africans will have their own.
It's been legalized.
We will be importing. We will be forced to import for medicinal value, for medicinal purposes. We will be told that if you don't import cannabis from Glaxo or one of these companies, you are not, and they will criminalize our own. The same way white people did with Ogogoro, they call it illicit gin. Now, till today, it's in our law. It's illegal to be in possession of Ogogoro. It's still in our law books. We haven't cancelled it. So that was why I made that pronouncement. And people, of course, there was an uproar. There was an uproar. And the next week, Ghana here said they are considering exporting cannabis. South Africa legalized it. Canada just yesterday legalized it. If you go to Canada, there's a queue outside of cannabis stores across Canada. Probably they made $1 billion last time. Coca-Cola is just signed a deal with Aurora, also based in Canada, to be infusing drinks with cannabis. And we are the ones who will end up consuming the products, so all these cannabis products. Cannabis has medicinal values. It cures seizures, epilepsy, as we call it here. It helps with depression.
Very good for arthritis.
It's good for arthritis. It's good for curing. It cures some part of pain that arises from cancer treatment. It helps with people that have severe nausea. So it's been known to almost cure everything. But we have been criminalizing because of the conditioning of our minds. And I said, if we don't get in the game early, they will end up saying that our cannabis is not consumable. And what we can do is we get in the game already. We are looking at $4 billion right there. Starting point. $4 billion is $1 billion is 350 billion naira. So imagine that between Edo State, Ondo State, Delta State, they say Kwale's cannabis is the best from in the Delta, and Ekiti State, 4 billion naira. If those 4 states can be making 4 billion naira in a year, what are we wasting our time for? Still killing people in Niger Delta over oil, right? And I know it's a matter of time. Cannabis will become the next oil. It's just a matter of time, because you look at number of places where it will be legalized and the demand for it. Canada is already unable to satisfy 70% of its demand. Between last week when they were pushing the announcement and now, yesterday when so there's 70% gap of requirement of request for weed, cannabis in Canada. Already, the market is already open for us. But as I'm speaking with you, probably NDLA people are still pursuing some people in Ekiti. They will know this night. So that was, it's just clairvoyance. It's someone, and guess what? The person who won the Canadian election as Prime Minister, Trudeau, Justin Trudeau, made it as a campaign promise, and he fulfilled it. And the place is a better place for him today. Yeah. And I'm not asking people to smoke here. I'm saying we prepare for export. But I understand completely that the reason why I'm not wasting my time asking whether we should legalize it for smoking or not. People are already smoking cannabis in Nigeria. In fact, if we legalize it, less people will smoke it. Because Nigerians, there's something about Nigeria. Something you say something is illegal, they will do it. When you say it's legal, they leave it.
I think it's like that all over the world.
Yes.
What are you most afraid of concerning the youth, concerning this movement that has been activated, people becoming aware of their situation, their environment, to know that we cannot forever continue on this path. Just like I said in the beginning, sometimes I get a little frustrated, sometimes I get a little confused about what next to do. So what is that one thing that really disturbs you about the people you are preaching to, which of course is my constituency, the young people?
I would tell you that the biggest of it is the fact that it's forgetfulness, right? I don't know who said it. It says the elites who rule in every society, not Nigeria, they learn nothing, but they forget nothing. For the youth, they are learning a lot, but they are forgetting everything, and that's scary. It's how much memory young people have is disturbingly low, such that if you're going to ask people what happened with Resume and Resign last year, most of them don't remember anymore. And so there's no historical memory that could guide us through this journey that we're, and the people we're up against understand that. They understand that we are very effervescent.
Is it that understanding that made them to pay no attention to education?
Yeah.
History from our community?
No, it is. It's deliberate. Everything they are doing today is deliberate. The weaponization of hunger is deliberate. They know that if they don't weaponize hunger, it will be very difficult to come and give somebody 5,000 naira during an election and hope that the person will vote for them. It is the reason why you see people in the diaspora are a little bit ahead of others, because they don't have to deal with hunger in a raw form. Their hunger is for ambition, is for education, is for other things. But our own hunger is still for food here. So, and there's the reason why you see that probably they never allowed diaspora voting. Because if diasporas could vote, they will help teach this election in the right direction. But there's nobody in diaspora, almost nobody in diaspora supports.
Vote, what can they do? People in the diaspora
they can call people at home. They can completely fund this revolution. We've been asking them to support us. What we're asking for is $2 million to fight these people. But we know $2 million cannot fight them, but